This tutorial is for 4th grade Module 3, Lesson 6. In this lesson, we are going to decompose numbers to show how we end up with the final product when we multiply by multiples of 10. You can see in the first problem that I've already put my final answer in the blank. What I really want to show here is how we get 800 as our final answer. I'm multiplying 20 times 40. I can think of that as 2 tens, or 2 times 10, times 4 tens, or 4 times 10. Because multiplication is commutative, I can rearrange these numbers and still come up with the same product. So if we look at how that transfers to this step, I had 2 times 10 times 4 times 10. I've just rearranged them to 2 times 4 times 10 times 10, which will give me the same product. But I'm going to show this problem on the place value chart. I'll start by showing the 2 times 4 on the place value chart. So 2 times 4 means I have 2 groups of 4, or 8. Then I have to multiply that times 10. Well, I know when I multiply by 10, every disk becomes 10 times as great. So those 8 disks will move over to the tens place. So now instead of 8 ones, I have 8 tens, or 80. And I still have to multiply it by another 10, which means now my 8 tens will become 10 times as great, and they become 8 hundreds, which matches my final answer. So again, the purpose of this is to show how the numbers grow. When we multiply by 10, every number gets 10 times as great. Multiply that by 10, and it grows again by 10 times as much. Let's look at this in word form for the second problem. Problem is 2 tens times 4 tens. I can think of that, just like it did in the first problem, as 2 times 10 times 4 times 10. I can multiply my tens together. 10 times 10 is what gets me my hundreds for my word form. And then I just think of 2 times 4 for the number, 8 hundreds. So 2 tens times 4 tens is the same as 8 hundreds, because 10 times 10 is 100. And again, 20 times 40 is 800. Let's look at a couple of more examples. Here I have 3 tens times 4 tens. Again, if we think of this as 3 times 10 times 4 times 10, we can see why we end up with hundreds. I can take my 10 times my 10 to give 100. Then I take 3 times 4 to get 12. So my final answer is 12 hundreds, which is the same thing as 1,200. 2 tens times 5 tens means 2 times 10 times 5 times 10. The 10 times 10 gives me 100, and 2 times 5 equals 10. So my final answer is 1000, which I know if it's 100, I'm going to put the 2 zeros to represent the hundreds place. So the answer is 10 hundreds, or 1,000. And in the last question, I have 4 tens times 8 tens, which is 4 times 10 times 8 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 4 times 8 is 32. So my final answer is 3,200. The 2 zeros show that I'm in the hundreds. So 3,200 is the same as 3,200.